works? Very good. So hello, everybody. This is our BuildCast number 1. And as we promised, we are starting with a use case that we believe is going to be coming infrastructure for all of us to then compound everything that we are going to build every week. And we chose to build a personal knowledge base. We can call it a second brain. There are more and more names that around the industry for this use case. So we chose a setup with 2 systems that hopefully most of you are super familiar with. One of them, and the other one is built especially for this application. So you're going to see a demo of a system built with Claude and Obsidian. We chose Obsidian because it's an open source solution. It runs locally on your desktop. You install it, all your information and all your knowledge will be stored on your local device. So you don't need to worry about sharing it with anybody. And then Claude, so this session of LLM, we can use any other LLM, but Claude in this instance will be calling on that knowledge and helping you to extract value out of it, either being automation or being knowledge transfer, iterations, updates, and so on. BuildCast number 1 will be setting up the knowledge base, setting up the second brain, and how that works, and what can you do to maintain it, update, how do you manage the Obsidian instance. From BuildCast number 2, we'll have more and more use cases that we are going to add that are relevant in your leadership role, and then we will use the knowledge base as an infrastructure layer where you are going to save everything that we are going to send you, and it's going to be at your fingertips. You don't need to worry about where do I have the instructions, what happened with them, and so on. To set up, because you are part, or for the people that are part of 2% Today program, they will receive a pack, like a skill for Claude, that will walk you through the installation step by step, guiding you through how do you set up the knowledge base, what's important for you, what's the success that you are hoping to get out of it. So join us if you want to be super, super, super easy for you to set it up. And then hopefully all these sessions that will follow will help you to do it on your own if you don't want to join us. So I will welcome Pedro to walk us through and show us magic.
Thanks, Andra. Okay, so first, I want to discuss why would a second brain be useful, and this goes back to think of it as if you had like a human assistant. That human assistant has knowledge and has like everything that you do in the database and manages your agenda, manages your communications, and also have actions. So the idea of the second brain is to be that like knowledge repository where you store everything that you need for either your work, your personal life, personal finances, whatever you want. So the first thing that we need to do is structure the way that we're going to store that knowledge or that information. And we're going to walk you through a very like simple setup for this specific BuildCast, and we're going to continue to augment and work on top of that in the following ones. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's do this live. And this is, we're going to do this with Claude. So Claude has, as you probably know, it has chats, it has co-work, and it has Cloud Code. For this specific example, we're going to use co-work. And we first need to define what folder in our computer that second brain is going to be stored in. So let's call this a second brain, a BuildCast example. And then add files, and then let's select a working folder, and I'm going to have it in my desktop, and I'm going to have it second brain BuildCast. Okay, and then I'm going to open it. I'm going to create, and then I'm going to make sure that then this is the instruction, a very simple instruction that I'm going to give it. Basically, I'm saying that I'm a product manager working on building apps, that I manage 5 developers, that I have weekly client meetings and monthly one-on-ones with my teams, and I manage project expenses and budget. And then I'm saying that I'm going to build a second brain using Obsidian on the current working folder. And then once that triggers, Claude is going to start structuring that information with folders. So let's give it a second so that it thinks. Okay. What do you categorize at the top level? So it starts like asking me how we're going to organize the knowledge base. Let's say role-based, Alt4 recommended. Should I see the vault with placeholders entries? Yes. And this is a very fast example. Ideally, later on, when you're building your own second brain, we could help you structure it in a way that better fits your need. And again, this could be, I don't know, if you're a marketing, if you work in marketing, this would have the brand assets, everything that you need to generate the content and keep you on top of your daily tasks. So what he's doing right now is starting with the information that I shared. He's deciding what that knowledge structure should be. It's asked me permission to read my desktop folder, which is where we stored that, created that folder earlier. Let's see what it's doing. Yeah, product engineer. Okay. So what it's doing right now, it's building the scripts to create the folders. This takes about 5 minutes. Once that lands, it'll come up. While we do that, let me walk you through what Obsidian is and why we use it. So Obsidian is a tool that helps us visualize .md files, and MD files are like plain text files, but with format. It's like a standard way of how the LLMs and the AI engines are trained. And it's a very easy way to interact with files. One thing that Obsidian and how Obsidian does it, it creates vaults. So think of it as Obsidian as like a front end or an app that accesses the information that's stored on a vault. Now, let me share my whole screen so that we stop sharing, and I'm going to share my entire screen so that I could show you what it built. So this is the folder structure that it created. It created templates, it created projects, teams, clients, finance, resources, assets, and archive. So now that it has everything in there, I'm going to go ahead and open Obsidian. And I'm going to open the vault. Let me manage vaults. I'm going to open folder as a vault. Basically, what this is going to do is it's going to open this BuildCast examples here. Okay, here it is. So if you see here, these are the DMD files. If you see it, it's like formatted, and that's why we need Obsidian for us to help with it. Now, it has everything like this. Now, let's say that, okay, it's already built and ready to go. Now, how do we use it? We need to add like meetings information or transcripts to it, and you just copy and paste it here in Claude Cowork, and then it would know how to store it in a way that is structured and reusable. So give me 5 seconds. I'm going to pull up some dummy data that I have.
So that means we are using Claude to organize it's like a single point of entry for the information that we dump, and then it organizes it based on what it understands, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be, and send it in the right. So we don't need to worry anymore to save something in its specific folder or to organize the data. As long as we created the right structure, then the information goes in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So this is like let's assume that we had a short client call with, I don't know, Northwind call nodes. This is something that I could like dictate to the LLM or add the transcripts. And then I could send this, and then it should add a client here and add as a client meeting notes. So let me see if we were able to make it happen.
Do I add a drum roll now? Let's see if it works.
Okay, so structure meeting notes in Vault. If you see, we defined like meeting notes where we had like this variable so that we could later search for them. And then the agenda notes, meetings, decisions, and all of that. So let's have like structure meeting notes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you see here, it identified that we had a client that was called Northwind, that it didn't existed. So based on our structure, we have Acme Corp, clients MOC, and we added Northwind, right? If you see here, with that small amount of information, it started to add like stage and like the definition that we set up initially, right? And it was like very basic, like copy and paste notes that I added. But Claude is able, based on a good structure, to start organizing that information in a way that's useful for us. And then it added this one, which is a discovery call. Here we have it. So let's go back and try and remember what we had here. It's this one. It's 30 minutes with their VP of engineering. Northwind, Pal notes, love the product, clear ahead of what we're using, seat-based pricing is a blocker, ask about usage-based procurement. So you see that this stage was inferred by that, and then this is like a discovery call. So it determined that it was a discovery call, and I deliberately, I purposely chose a very vague example of what a meeting transcript is. If we were to provide it with the full meeting transcript, then this would be more structured. But this is a very good visibility on how it's able to pull action items from it and structure the information. Any questions so far?
Thank you, Pedro. So just before we start questions, I think what is amazing in my mind is we don't need to worry on where do we and how do we organize information that sometimes pertains in more than one place. So for example, you have a board meeting, the board meeting has a decision, the decision is for a project, the project runs budget execution, and the budget execution drives people, right? And then when you are looking back for information for what was the decision or what mattered for that, or how many people did you had to hire, or what budget do you need to execute, sometimes we're super confused in where did we save that information, how do we drive that, where do we find it, and so on. So this ensures that we have one data point of entry, and then super well organized, contextually relevant updates. Then we can draw any question later, and then it would know how and what to respond, rather than us wasting time looking for folders, looking for all our crazy way to organize information that overlaps a lot. So that's just one of the very simple initial benefits of having this run in place. So that's how you do it. That's the BuildCast number 1. Thank you very much for staying with us. And then keep on following for the next episodes. And now over to questions.
Okay, so this example is, I'm going to copy and paste a mock conversation that I had in WhatsApp, so that Claude is going to ingest that and analyze it and store it in the information. And then after this, I'm going to show how we could start using Claude to help us interact with that second brain. So the initial part was structuring the knowledge and starting to rename plan. Okay, so add her as a new team leader. Yeah, okay. So the initial part of the BuildCast was structuring the knowledge, setting up the knowledge base in the second brain, and then we started to add information to it. Once we have information in our knowledge, we need to use that. So this is an example of copy and pasting a chat message to it. It stores the information in a structured way. And then I'm going to start simulating how I would use it on a day-to-day basis. Once it finishes storing, let me share. Okay, once it finishes, let me show you what it's. I'm going to stop presenting and share my whole screen so that you see. You see it here. It's this one. Okay, so this is our. It's working, and then I have this is the knowledge that we were talking about. So edit Camila Herrera, okay. It's this one? No, it's not this one. Let me open. This was another demo that I had. second brand, BuildCast. Okay, it's this one. Okay, this is it. If you see here, people, it added Camila here as a person. So now let's go back to Claude and let's say, what are my to-dos? This is really where like the power starts coming in. So we have a bunch of to-dos organized based on like from the different meetings, and the action items are here. And then it's gonna start looking over all my knowledge and telling me what I need to focus on. And then I could, if imagine that I have a bunch of to-dos, I have 20, group them by urgency and by what we can automate now. So this is like the next level, right? Not only having access to all the information, but using AI to help me triage and hopefully evacuating those to-dos.
So the beauty of this would be, without this sort of solution and organizing your data in such a manner, now you would need to look in your calendar, look in all the projects, re-update all the projects with your to-do list, check where you are, check progress, see in what day you are, and so on, to be able to have an organized and prioritized action list. With this one, you don't need that time anymore. So you still hold the pen on how to organize and what's urgent, what's important for you. For Pedro, it was what can I automate? So he had an efficiency lens on top of his activities, but for you, it can be anything. What's time sensitive, what's people sensitive, what's budget impacting, and so on, right? So you hold the pen on what's important, but then it's very easy to access multiple points of data in one shot, and then have one snapshot that is specific to you and coming from your data and your personal circumstances.
Yeah, and if you see, it's already leading me to like next actions. Okay, what could we automate? Okay, draft the Northwind pricing options as an email. Northwind, so use placeholders. I'll give you the rate. What format do you need? Client-facing email. And then it's going to start like helping me with that email. The knowledge base doesn't have all the information, so it's probably going to ask me to fill in the blanks. Okay. And if you have a run sense, I don't know, suggest, right? And this is like a very easy and simple way to reply to emails, and reply to emails with all the knowledge and the context.
Thank you, Pedro.